How to become the person you've always wanted to be. This is my 10-step process to cut out the nonsense, shatter limiting beliefs, and get back to who you actually are. I have a little surprise for you guys at the end to make this a whole lot easier, so stay tuned. Number 1, I want you to write down everything that people have told you about who you are. Every story that you tell yourself in your head, or things that you've picked up along the way, whatever they may be. This could be, I'm a C student, I'm not good at school, I'm fat, I'm unhealthy, I'm a good friend, I'm a this, I'm a that. Whatever it is, positive or negative, however it sits in your mind, write them all down. The little things that we tell ourselves become our identity. The things that we speak in our head become our reality. So it's so important that we highlight all of the things that we're telling ourselves so that we can say, do I want to keep this or do I want to get rid of it? Step number 2, I call it detached analysis. Look down at the piece of paper in front of you and all of these things that you have written about yourself. Do you like them? Are there things that you want to keep and develop? Are there things that you want to get rid of? I call this detached analysis because the point of this is not to shame or judge yourself. The point is to look back from like a bird's eye view and just see the bigger picture of all of the pieces that are at play. Are there things that you really love about yourself that you want to develop? Are there things that you maybe adopted along the way that you want to get rid of? Just kind of analyzing the pieces that you have to work with. Number 3, this is where things get a little bit challenging. This is one of those steps where the reason why you haven't done it before is because you don't know how to do it. Step number 3 is pretty difficult. This is the part where you have to label and discover what your limiting beliefs actually are. So this is where you have to take this mosh podge of all of the aspects and traits that you have and figure out what is true and what is a lie and what is entrapping you and withholding you from reaching your full potential. That is so difficult to do on your own, especially just because it just takes so much like retrospective. Like if you grew up in a world where you're told you can only do A, B, and C and then you die, looking at this big jumble of an alphabet and being like, oh, actually I can do Z, Y, and X when nobody has ever told you that you can do that or you have no example of that is really difficult. So if this is something that you're struggling with, book a call with me. We can talk about it. I'd love to be a third person to just look at it and say, oh, this is actually like a huge limiting belief that you have. Did you know that? And you might be like, I had no idea. So step 3 is labeling and identifying your limiting beliefs. This can be, again, very difficult. Think of it as anything that is entrapping, anything that withholds your potential. You're going to look at it from a very distant, unbiased third-person perspective and say, does this limit me? Does this idea entrap me? Something like, oh, I'm a C student. I'm not good in school. I can never make more than this amount of money. I will never have healthy relationships like this. Whatever it is, you'll start to see the pattern of entrapment. All of these limiting beliefs that you've been told or the stories that you've been told and agreed to that somehow put you in a glass box. I like to call this your glass ceilings of how far you feel you can actually reach in life. Again, we're not judging, we're not trying to shame, we're not trying to say, oh, I can't believe I believed this, I can't believe this, whatever. We're just labeling, just figuring out where those glass ceilings are. Step number 4, this is where it gets fun. We're gonna start challenging our limiting beliefs. So you have your list of all of the things that are withholding you. You're like, I've been told that I can never have a job that I fully love. That's a limiting belief. I have been told that I really suck at school. It's a limiting belief. You're gonna have a list of these things, and this is where you're gonna challenge them. Your limiting beliefs are just a start here sign for getting back to your true self. I'd say 90% of the time, limiting beliefs are developed by what somebody told you couldn't do and not from your own trial and error. I want you to look at your list and trace each point back to the origin. Where did you pick up that story? Where did that phrase come from? What actions or scenarios happened in which you picked up this, I'm not a good student, I'm too much for everyone, I'm a burden, whatever your limiting belief is, trace it back to the origin. Oftentimes it's going to be repeated events, but sometimes it could have just been one. I want you to just label where they came from and realize how many of those came from somebody else or an outside experience telling you who you were. The other day I was talking to a friend and she said that she's a worrywart and that she hates that about herself. And I was like, I don't know if I've ever heard that term before in my life. But that's what her mother always told her that she was. And I realized, oh my gosh, we use words and phrases that aren't even our own to describe ourselves. A worrywart became such a negative word to her, which is something that I never even knew. Like she absorbed that because that's what she was told. And that's the story that she replays over and over and over in her head. This can also work positively. I had somebody tell me that I was organized once, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I had never thought of myself as organized, but the second they said that, I was like, I am, you're so right. And I started wearing that hat, wearing that identity, and really living it because I'm an organized person. I adopted the identity, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So the purpose of step 4 is to just step back and realize that probably 90% of the limiting beliefs, if not 100%, came from other people or stories or words that are not your own. This is so helpful to realize, like, wow, this isn't actually who I am. This is just the things that I've absorbed and the things that I was told. And that this glass ceiling that it was invented from somebody else's narrative, I can shatter. Step number 5, you're going to take your list of limiting beliefs and put everything into a new perspective. I remember telling my friend a couple months ago that I felt lazy. I was like, man, I just feel like I'm constantly fighting this like laziness, like I'm never doing enough. And she goes, what is lazy? Who is lazy? Is lazy bad? I went back to the origin of where that word came from. Because I don't ever call anybody lazy. I don't use that vocab except for myself. And I went back to the origin and realized that I got it from a parent, and that my dad would say that. And that he often would say something like, oh, you play too hard and you don't work hard enough. And I overcompensated by like hustling and working so hard. And yet I always felt lazy. Like I always felt like I wasn't doing enough. I realized that lazy isn't inherently bad. It's just the connotation that I put on myself. It's somebody else's words that became my limiting belief. I realized that the word lazy didn't fit for me. It wasn't my word. It's not what I believed. I believe that there's a time for play, a time for work, and a time for rest. And I'm actively striving to balance the 3 of those things. So laziness just wasn't the thing that worked for me anymore. So I want you to do this with your limiting beliefs. If somebody's like, you have ADHD. And you know how sometimes they say it with that little connotation that's like negative, that little twist? Ask yourself, okay, is it bad? What is ADHD? Who is ADHD? Is it bad? Is it actually bad? Ask yourself, am I bad or am I just in the wrong environment? So I want you to shift your perspective. Think about a student that's in a school system that's not built for them. And they're getting straight C's and they can't focus and they can't get their work done because they've got ADHD, and everyone's trying to medicate them and tell them how to be and to sit still and to go against what is natural to them. Go against how they were wired. Of course, they're going to feel like ADHD is a negative thing. Of course, they're going to feel this idea of, I am bad. This is a limiting thing that I have that is holding me back from reaching my full potential because I have ADHD and I've been cursed, right? Now, think of it from a new perspective. Let's say you graduate school, C student, whatever. Then you start doing your own thing in an environment that works for you. You start entrepreneurship. You start building businesses. You're doing this thing here and this thing here, and you're doing it in your energy and your pattern, and you're scaling something. And then you go to a conference and you meet some people, and those people have the same things in common, and then they look at you and they think, man, this person is so intelligent. They are so wicked smart. Suddenly, your ADHD became your greatest strength because you leaned into it. You leaned into how your body already works. That is the power of changing perspectives of your limiting beliefs. Step number 6 is all about redefining your story and taking ownership. You are not settled into a negative identity until you decide that you're going to stay there. You can always shift. You can always change. It is up to you. I want you to go from the it is what it is and it's just who I am narrative to I am the author of my own story. It's shifting from that victim mentality to taking ownership, responsibility for your life. And trust me, when you shift, the world will shift around you. Sometimes it's really hard to dream big when all you've ever known is glass ceilings. When everyone around you tells you who you are and what you're able to achieve, it's hard to dream big. But that's exactly what I want you to do here. Let's take my husband, for example. He grew up believing that his life could only be this great. C-level, that you get a 9-to-5, that you can never make more than $100,000 in a year, and that you get 2 vacations, and that's it. He didn't fit into college, didn't like it, dropped out after 5 days, and just felt like, that's it. Like, I'll just follow the path that was carved out for me. Mind you, my husband is like literally a genius. Like, I literally think that he is on the spectrum for being a genius. He is one of the most intelligent men I've ever met. He can problem solve like no other. But he had so many limiting beliefs for how large his life could be until he met me. So one day I met an airline pilot, and this pilot was talking about his job and all the things that went into it and the kind of personality that it took to achieve that. And I knew that my husband had a deep love for flying, but again, in his head, all he could ever achieve was getting a private pilot's license when he was like 50 and could afford it. I'm listening to this story. I text my husband and I say, hey, 180, what if instead you become a commercial airline pilot? Just think about it. We did a bunch of research That night, we called every connection that we had that was in the airlines. My uncle was a pilot, so that was super awesome talking with him, and realized that it was perfect for him. That the college environment or the 9 to 5 or whatever else, all of these boxes that he was supposed to do and supposed to fulfill weren't designed for him. He started studying, and he has studied every single day since December 3rd. He spends hours studying. He's already completed 3 of his 6 exams that he's supposed to take in flight school. He hasn't even started flight school yet. He starts next week. It's just insane to watch the identity shift. He stands taller, he wants to work out, he wants to focus on his body and his health because he's got to be a pilot, and a pilot focuses on their body and their health. The second that he decided he was going to be a pilot, I started calling him that. I started referring to him as a pilot because it helps to contribute to the identity change of leveling up and shattering those glass ceilings of what you believe is possible. That is the power of changing the words that you use. So again, step 6. Dream big. Things that you never thought were on your radar, things that you never thought that you could achieve, write them down. What is it that you've been told that you can't do? And I promise you, you can. You really, really can. Step number 7 is called the coin jar. Obviously, words are incredibly powerful. God created the earth with words. Like, don't ever forget the power of the things that you think in your mind and the things that you say. They have power. But that power is amplified with actions. Your actions are the things that are actually going to change your identity, actually going to change your life to becoming the person that you've always wanted to be. So how do you change your actions from just words that you have written down in your journal in front of you to actually who you are? This is where the coin jar comes in. The coin jar is a metaphor. It can actually, if you want to get like a physical coin jar and do this, all the better for you. If you're a visual learner, if you're someone that likes tangible things, go for it. If not, it's going to be a mental practice. You're going to picture coin jars in front of you. And on each coin jar is a label. This label is whatever you want it to be. Whoever you want to become. Incredible wife, pilot, YouTuber, healthy, fit, athletic, whatever these identities are that you really want to have. After you've done step 6 of dreaming up this incredible new identity and the person that you've always longed to be, step number 7 is adding these labels to this metaphorical coin jar in your head. Every time you do an action that contributes towards this goal, you're putting a coin in the coin jar. If it's, for example, YouTuber, like me. This is an identity that I've always wanted to have, but I've had so many limiting beliefs and so many people tell me that I couldn't do it. And even not like directly, but just the things that I've absorbed, like, oh, it's too competitive, there's too many things, I can't do this, I can't do that, whatever else. So I've done all the work, steps 1 through 6, to shatter those limiting beliefs, but now I have to take my new thoughts, my new words, and put them into action. Hello, puppy. So I have a coin jar. It says YouTuber on it. What steps can I take to make this identity a reality for me? I want you to think so small. A lot of times when people are like, oh, I want to lose weight, and they put that on their coin jar. First off, that's not an identity. It has to be an identity. Instead of, I want to lose weight, make it, I am a healthy person. How can I contribute to this identity? Think small. Instead of, I'm going to lose 15 pounds by Friday and and do this and this and this. No. We're thinking like a healthy person would think. Ask yourself, what would a healthy person do here? I have an orange and a donut in front of me. What would a healthy person do here? I'm a healthy person. I'm going to pick the orange. When you do the little choices like that, you're putting a coin in this jar of your new identity. If you wake up 10 minutes earlier and do some stretching before you get on with your day, you're putting another coin in your jar. Keep doing this. Think really small. The goal is to add tons of little tallies, not to try to fill the whole thing up overnight because it's just gonna break. Like, you have to slowly contribute and slowly shift your identity. And the best way to do that is in small, repeatable, consistent steps, not dramatic 180 change overnight. So I have my coin jar of YouTuber. Things that I'm gonna do. Oh, I researched YouTube videos today. I wrote down ideas. I experimented with new lighting and setup. I did this and do that. This is all contributing to my new identity of I am a YouTuber. Also just speaking about it. Adding to your identity just through talking about it. Referring to yourself as a YouTuber, talking to your husband about it, writing it down in your journal, changing your lock screen, having a schedule on your calendar of when you're gonna record. All of these things to say, I am becoming a YouTuber. Basically, it's almost like you fake it till you make it. You're going to live like a YouTuber because you are a YouTuber. You're starting to become a healthy person because you're making the choices a healthy person would make. You're filling your coin jar, and after a certain number of coins, after enough actions, you shift your identity of oh, I am a YouTuber. I am a healthy person. I am a commercial airline pilot, because you've done enough actions in your favor that fill your identity coin jar to make that a reality, to shift your identity. Step number 8, change your environment. Again, thinking about that student that had ADHD. He had to change his environment. He had to leave this system that was not meant for him and be in a different system, in a different world, like entrepreneurship, that catered to his strengths. I actually know somebody personally that owns, I think it's $100 million company right now, that has ADHD, and he is killing the game, and he leans into that. Instead of trying to grind and hustle and focus on one thing all day, every day, he delegates. He goes here and here and here and here and here, and he's sporadic, but he's leaned into that. It has become his strength, and because of that, he's incredibly wealthy and successful. If your friends tease you for failing in school, they're probably not the greatest friends. The people that you surround yourself with and the stories that they tell you are so crucial. Sometimes if you feel like you're not working in the environment that you're in, something's off, something's not clicking, something's not aligning, it's probably because you're in the wrong environment. Changing jobs to something that better aligns with you and your skill sets, changing friend groups to people that actually believe in you and see your weaknesses as strengths. These things can really help you to shatter your limiting beliefs. It can help to move out of your hometown. Number 9, the power of examples. Oftentimes we have limiting beliefs because we've never seen anybody do it bigger. You might think that you will never have a healthy marriage because your parents didn't have a healthy marriage, and that's all you've ever witnessed. You don't really know what that looks like, so you don't think that it's possible. The power of examples is so crucial because it gives you the example, somebody living the life that you want, and you say, wow, I can do that. That is why mentors could be so powerful. Friends and family and news stories and America's Got Talent or whatever else can be so crucial because you see examples of people living the dream. If you can take those examples and instead of being jealous and bitter, instead say, wow, that is inspirational. I want to be like them, and I can because they did it. That is when you become the author of your own story and not the victim mentality. Because my husband and I talked to so many airline pilots, we saw how achievable it was. He just never really thought about it. He'd never seen anybody do it. He'd never seen anybody in his circumstance, having not gone to college, having been from this, income family, whatever else, be able to achieve becoming an airline pilot. Then we started talking to dozens of people that have done it, talking about how quickly they got through it, how they didn't go to college, how they had this or this and this, or this skill set or this strength, and how they were able to do it and that they love their job. That example was so powerful for changing his mentality and his identity that, hey, I can do this. It's very, very possible. That's also the power of going through something difficult yourself. Oh, I can handle this trial over here because I handled that one last year, right? Like this house. This house was the most insane endeavor for us. It was not like this when we bought it. We renovated everything. Every surface you see, we did it. We resurfaced the floor. We painted every single wall. We did all the baseboards, new fans, new can lights, I hand painted the stairs. It was so much work, but I knew that we had to take on this endeavor just to prove to ourselves that we could do something crazy. We took on a huge mortgage. We bought this house and put so much love into it because it taught us we can do hard things. We can do things young. We can do things differently. We can have a healthy marriage and make it through reconstructing this house. I cannot tell you how many people told us that our marriage would end because we renovated this house together. They just thought, oh, construction is so awful. It will get to you guys. That's a limiting belief. And where did that come from? Not from me. It came from the outside. And if anything, we actually had a super good time doing it together. But that's the power of examples, realizing that you can freaking do it because that person's doing it and they're not that crazy special. Oftentimes, the people that are billionaires or have achieved insane success aren't really particularly crazily special. They just did it. They just kept going. That is the difference. Step number 10 is to repeat all of this. As you go in life, every couple months, every couple years, I want you to go back through these steps and do it over and over and over again. You'll realize that limiting beliefs just kind of happen. They're there to keep us safe. And they're not inherently a negative thing necessarily unless you let them be, unless you keep them. So every once in a while, I want you to go back and re-look at your limiting beliefs and be like, wow, before this house, we didn't think that we could hardly afford an apartment, let alone an apartment and a house and a full renovation. Then we're going to do the next thing and it's going to be even bigger. And we're going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, this house was no big deal if we're doing this thing. you're just going to continually shatter your limiting beliefs. And I want you to look back at the ones that you've shattered before and be like, wow, I really didn't think 3 years ago that I was capable of doing the thing that I'm doing now. And how exciting that is. If you want someone to go through this process with you, I would be honored. My name is Lexi. I'm a life coach and I help people to build extraordinary lives. I have a whole lot of love for people and I'd be so happy to walk through this process with you. So check out the description box for more information. And I haven't forgotten about that little gift for you guys. I made an outline of this whole video so that you can print it off and go through all of these steps in a beautiful, organized format. If you resonate with any of this, if this was good, if this was bad, please let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down, anything is helpful. The feedback is amazing. Leave a comment, let me know what you loved, let me know what you didn't love, and subscribe for more. I'm always learning, I'm always improving. I have so much value I want to give, so let me know what you're struggling with, and I'd be so happy to walk through it with you. You guys are amazing and absolutely divine. Don't ever forget that you have incredible, infinite potential, infinite value, and I cannot wait for you to unlock it. Have a good one. I love you. Mwah.